loan officers like to co-brand with agents.
Mhm.
Is this agent really just using me, or is it for the co-brand, or are we really building a business? Welcome back to another episode of the MLO Podcast. I'm super excited today. I have a special guest. You're not going to want to miss this episode. Now, this agent right here is a mom. She has the mindset of a champion, and we have $1 million closings. If you're an MLO and you want to work with an agent like this, stay tuned. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Yarenis Perez. It's a pleasure to have you here on the podcast. Now, what I wanted, I got, in reading her intro, I got to read it to you because I was super impressed. She's an immigrant, a mom, and check this out, a former motorcycle rider, a woman who didn't wait for opportunity, she made her own. And that's that winning mindset that we're all going to have, whether you're an agent, whether you're a loan officer, or just looking to win. This is your girl. This is the woman, as they say. And in this episode, she's going to tell you exactly what it takes to earn the trust of top agents like her. And here we go. Welcome to the MLO Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, Brandon. Honestly, I think it's a great opportunity for myself to show the world what we have as an agent or everything else as a person, as a human being, as a mom, as a woman. I really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. And so I want to start here because in our talk, we were talking about you being an immigrant. So where are you from? Tell our audience, your story, your backstory. How did you come to this country? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So I'm Cuban. I came when I was 15 years old. My parents, they won the lottery on that. I don't even know how, but it's
Wow.
like a lottery where you come. I mean, in Spanish, it calls la visa, la lotería. So they won that when I was 15, and they decided to come to this country, and of course, I came with them.
Mhm.
So when I came to this country, it as an immigrant, of course, language was one of the barriers that I had. I came in May, so I started school right away. So I went to school here too. It was a lot as an immigrant, but it was amazing. I think everybody should that have the opportunity to come to this country as a immigrant, it builds something from where they come from. You build yourself, you build your business based on our culture,
Sure.
based on what we have to bring to the table to this amazing country. So that's my story on that.
That's beautiful. What resonated to me is that you had to win the lottery to come to this country. What an opportunity. And so to come into a country that welcomed you because you won a lottery,
Yeah.
right? And then you come to this country, and from what I know about Cuba, you didn't have much of anything.
Exactly.
So you show up, and here I am. As a 15-year-old young woman, not knowing the language, how did that work? Was it in you to kind of find out, I'm here, I'm going to make this happen? Was it a mindset? As an immigrant, is it just, did you get that from your parents in terms of trying to, make the best version, make it work? Share with our audience a little bit of that kind of drive, because to win the lottery, to come with nothing. I mean, most of us, who are born in this country, had parents, had a home. We grew up. You started at 15 with zero. So, with that in mind, explain your family, your dynamic.
I born in 1991. So my mom, she submitted the documents because they give you opportunity. It's like right now you have something that you're able to bring other people to, and you apply for it. So in 1990, my mom applied for it. That's the story that I know. She
Sure.
applied for it, and it came 15 years after.
Wow. So your mom applied in 90?
Yes.
Waited 15 years?
Yeah, she even forgot about that. She continues with her life.
Right. I mean, 1990. I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, let alone 15
So
years.
it's not like you waiting for something, it just happened. And I remember it was a month before I turned 15
Wow.
when we received the documents, because they bring you like a yellow document, a yellow package for the documents inside. Everybody knows that is because you won the lottery. It's a shock. We didn't have much time, honestly. We lost everything, even the house that they built. And I think that's one of the things that when you come to this country as an immigrant, you wanted to change or you wanted to add to your life
Mm-hmm.
because your parents come and they lose everything.
Right.
They build a life there and they have to leave everything behind. So at 15, it's not much. Like,
Sure.
you're not mature enough. You're not independent. You cannot make decisions on your own. So you only have to follow, go to school, come
Right.
back. It was a little tough because high school here, education wise and public, I went to public school. It was not easy because you get a lot of bullying.
Oh, really?
Yes, from American, from other countries. You have they at high school age, they made their own groups.
Right.
So it's like anything that happened with someone in that group, everybody else just go and fight with the Cubans, for example.
Sure,
Or,
sure.
So it was that kind of, I would
It was
say,
tough.
experience
Yeah.
that for me was shocking because I come from a country where we give out names to ourselves as a kids. We call names to ourselves. We just play around, and it's not as serious like here. Like they take it like a bullying and all that. And I think it's the mentality. It's the way that kids are built over here that you just come prepared. So if you have to punch someone, you just punch it, and you don't even know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, at 15, it was like that. I remember. I mean,
So you had to fight for yourself.
so it's shocking because you have to go to school to learn, and at the same time you have to protect yourself.
Wow.
And on the bus, the fights were crazy. Like we even had police to come and the bus just stop and the police just come to get all these people. I'm like, oh my god, this is like
Right. What did they come
this
to?
is like a war.
know,
Between cultures, and it's sad. But at that time, you as a kid, you don't really realize, anything. You just go with it. But that changed the way that you want to see your future, the
sure.
way that you want to repay yourself, repay your parents. So I think as an immigrant, it gives you a lot of drive to see the world different, to make it better.
Sure.
People say we're not gonna make the world better in one day, but we will if more people think the same way.
And I appreciate you sharing that story because, from immigrant to young lady, right? There's a transition period. Now let's say you graduate high school, and then from there you go to college.
I went to college
Very
and
good.
I went to university as well, but I left my parents' house when I was 18 years old.
So right out the gate, you were independent.
Yes. So I got my own apartment
Wow.
when I was 18. I always worked. I remember when I came, I went to school. I started school in July or August. Just right after I came in May, and at the same time I started working. So I always went to school and I always worked. What I felt in that time is that okay, my parents bring me here. They are doing the best that they can to pay for paperwork because you have to pay to be able to come out, be a resident.
Right.
You have to pay rent. You have to pay for food. So all these things. And I always wanted to take off their shoulder, my responsibilities, like to have my own phone and pay for it, to pay for my own lingerie, my own clothing, my own shoes. So the only way to do it is to work.
Right.
So I started working when I came, like few months after. So I started working when I was 15, and I started working in the flea market.
So you're trading stuff at the flea market, huh? What did you do at the flea market?
I started on a CD, like a music. This guy, he's a musician, and he has CDs for karaoke, and I started working for him there. And from there, everybody started liking me. So I started working for other people.
You started honing your sales skills at the flea market. So you're selling person to person. That's a little bit of a foreshadowing of before we got to the $1 million closing. So So you're learning the how to interact, how
Mm-hmm.
to learn about that. That's interesting. From the flea market, where else do you go?
Well, on the flea market, I became second voice in the group, a
Mm.
musician group.
Oh wow.
So I used to go to places with them, of course, with my mom and my dad permission. I used to go. I used to be a second voice. So the same time, I used to give salsa classes to people and get paid for it too.
Sure.
I did things that I like, that I always been on me, that I always liked.
Right.
So after that, finishing high school, I started working on supermarket with Dixie on that time
Sure.
as a part time after school until night times. So that was my job before I finished high school. I learned a lot, including one of the things that it most impact me on this country is working, is that they always say clients is always right.
Customer is always right.
Yes,
Client's always
customer is always right. And I always used to tell them yes until they're not right.
So they're not right.
Yes. So for me, that was adapting to that. It was complicated.
Sure.
I would not say that it was not, but I learned a lot, including to practice the English.
Of course.
I speak a lot of Spanish, so I still have my own accent, but
you speak English very well, though.
Thank you.
You embraced it. You embrace the culture. You embrace, making it your own. Being an immigrant and also adapting to society. You've done, to become a professional. Absolutely.
So after that, I went to sales. That was one of my first big challenges. I worked for Toyota.
Okay.
Dealership.
Again,
one of the biggest in Florida.
Okay.
As a receptionist, as answering the phone. We know English. I mean, with a little bit of English, but not. I love that job.
Really? You love it?
Yes,
Okay.
I loved it because I embraced the language. I stopped being afraid of people, what they're going to say or how they're going to react to my accent or anything like that. So that was one of my favorite jobs that I had, honestly. That was my full-time job after I finished high school.
Wow.
I did it like for 2 years, and I even went to receptionist, to translator when they have Spanish clients, because it was only American.
And there was an actual position of a translation position.
No, they just made it.
No, they made
because
it.
I started going with the salespeople and sitting down with them to help them. So I'm like, hey, this is a position. So I was a receptionist, a slide translator.
Gotcha.
So I went into the sales, how the business was. They always wanted me to get into the sales department. I never did.
Okay.
But I always was around it because they always need me. So I always have to be, like explaining documents and talking to people. So yeah, that brings me to who I am right now. And that's what get me into the sales business.
Sure.
I'd have many other jobs at the same time. Yes. 18-year-old, supporting myself. Yeah. I had a good life. I really did. I make a lot of money. I did.
Yeah. You had the hustle, but yes. you were hustling. You were, did you work 2 jobs at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
At that time, 3. At that time,
3. Not 1, but 2, but 3.
I used to work on a restaurant as a waitress on the weekends and afternoons. I'm sorry, before I go to the dealership. I used to go to the dealership like around 11 to 12 until 9, 10 p.m. So before in the morning, I used to do waitress in a restaurant, like morning time for breakfast, like a Cuban restaurant.
Sure. So you did breakfast, then Toyota.
And then Thursday, Fridays, and Saturday, I was on the modeling work for a few years too. Sure. So I used to do promos. So I used to go to events to give out products, and whatever products I was promoting at that time depends on the company. So yeah.
It's amazing. You think about that. So, your story's building on itself, right? Because again, we're looking to get the mom mindset and $1 million closings, but you see the seeds, right, of the drive, working at the flea market. You see the seeds of, okay, working 3 jobs, okay, you're driven. That's what you kind of get from that, And so when we look at that, So springboard, late 20s. It sounds like to me that you're kind of independent, like you're kind of like got it going.
Hmm.
Is that when you start riding motorcycles?
No, I started riding motorcycles when I was working at a dealership.
I see. Well, that would make sense.
Yes. And the reason why is because the sales guys, I always had really good friends, men, like males. I always told myself, as a woman, we can do anything that men do.
Yep.
It's just that, of course, we're feminists, we are more delicate, so we give that job to the men. But why? I mean, if we want to do it, why not to do it?
Sure.
On the sales department, few of my friends, older, of course, they ride motorcycles, and they used to go to work on weekends on the motorcycle. For me, it was exciting because my dad in Cuba, he used to have a motorcycle, and I used to love it.
Okay.
He used to put me on the motorcycle when I was a little kid and just take me around. And then every single guy, most of them that I was dating, for me, they had to have a motorcycle.
Interesting. Motorcycles.
At that time. So for me, was like, I always have to go in the back, and I don't want to be on the back. I want to have my own motorcycle.
That's awesome.
So that's how it happened. I believe was on Christmas time. Someone used trading the motorcycle for a car.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was employee, I was able to get the best deal out of it. I just came riding one Saturday and I saw the motorcycle. I'm like, oh my God.
You saw the motorcycle. That's coming home with me.
Exactly. I don't even know how to drive because I never drove a motorcycle before. So it was like from zero. I will have the motorcycle first and then I will learn how to ride it.
Yes, of course.
So that is how it happens. I couldn't have it on my apartment because I used to live in a second floor.
Okay.
So my mom and my dad, they lived close to me, like 2 blocks away,
Sure.
to lights. And I used to use parking there.
Nice.
My dad almost had a heart attack when he saw it.
Of course, like any dad. I have daughters, of course. My daughter has a motorcycle. What is going on here? I mean, I'd be freaking out.
And then I just hire a guy and I told him, you show me. I want to learn. Just take me to learn.
You hired a guy
Yes.
to teach
you. I paid someone to teach me.
Okay.
We went to the park. I had a really close park nearby, sure. And that's where I learned. Then I took the class. I was the only girl on the class.
I can imagine.
And it was on my old high school. And it was like, I don't even know, 35 guys and myself. I even have the picture. They used to carry me because you take a picture with the whole group and they used to carry me and they title it The Beauty and the Beast because all of them were like, most of them are like, mature guys. Sure. and people that just get into that life, and everybody was surprised. Oh my God, young girl. I was like, 20, 19, something like that. I was really young. Riding a motorcycle, that's amazing. And then from there, for me, it was a hobby. I had my car and I had my motorcycle whenever I feel like it. Right. I used to go and ride, and it went pretty well. I ride like for 3 years.
So when riding, can you do wheelies?
Yes.
See, there you go.
Well, right now, if I
I
don't know what's gonna happen. But at that time, yes.
Sure.
Yes.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I never was.
It's risky. It's risky.
I've never done it, but
I did a few times, and I'm like, no, I don't want to fall. I never did. Thanks God. I was very responsible.
But that shows you that even at a young age, you were like, I'm on top of it, right? Like I got my car, I got my rent, I got my motorcycle, I got my hobby. And I think there's a photo of you somewhere. If we can, we'll flash it up. But I think you ride in heels. Mm-hmm. So one more time. You rode like a motorcycle with heels.
Yes.
There you go.
Hey, fashion
first. That's awesome. All right. So so through that course, when does real estate start coming to your? Now, when did that start coming, bubbling up, for lack of a better word? Is that before you transition, or like not transition, but is that before you maybe become married, or maybe mom? What happened? So how do we go from motorcycle to mom?
Yeah.
How do we do that?
I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
I went to university. I did criminal justice for 2 years. I couldn't finish because I got sick. So I only did my AA. And then it was private. So I used to pay for my university.
Right.
So it was very expensive.
So you didn't take out student loans?
No, I did not. I wasn't qualified in that time because I decided to go to college. I didn't do it right after I
Right.
finished high school. I took like a year. I make money. And that year I make a lot of money to have the life that I had in that time by
Right.
myself. So I decided to go to medical school. I did.
Medical school. I mean, she's like an onion. I keep peeling back. I keep peeling back an onion. I'm like, whoa, look at her. She was a singer, and now we're in medical school. I rode motorcycles. I'm on my own.
Yes,
like, you're like an onion.
So I went to medical school. I did medical assistant.
Sure.
And after I finished medical assistant, I started working for physicians. So I went to medical assistant to physician assistant on cardiology and dermatology.
Oh, wow.
So I worked with cardiology physicians and dermatologists after for 5 years. I love anything that have to do with blood. I'm great with blood. I love it. And the reason why I wanted to be on the criminal justice is because I want to be investigator on that time and I want to be able to see all these cases.
All the bad stuff that happens.
Yes.
And figure it out.
That for me at that time as a kid, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was super interesting.
Yes. I even did hours on the sheriff department of Palm Beach for a few years, used to help them. So I used to go 5 in the morning to 7 in the morning. And then I used to go to work to my medical field to work with the doctors. So I always wanted to be everywhere, honestly. Like my soul just wanted to grab something from everywhere, meeting people, knowing people. Like that was the things that I love. So on the medical field, I enjoy it. I learned a lot. I got to the point that I started going home and feel sad because medical stuff and who works in medical will know. And I'm really sensible. So I used to get attached to
the patient.
And
that's the hard
always
side.
Something happens and it keeps, happening and happening. I'm like, I'm too young for this. I'm definitely not on when we used to work at the hospital, they used to take me to the hospital to assist or anything like that. It made me sad at the end.
You enjoyed the science part of it, but the human side is what really got you.
I didn't feel joy. So I'm like, this is not for me.
Fair.
I'm not a person of being on 4 walls. I like to be out there. I always have. So that's what real estate, you stick in my head. I'm like, let me try real estate. I always be passionate about homes and decorating, all that kind of stuff, construction. Because I started being independent since I was 18 years old.
Right.
I just felt that I could do anything. So I'm like, I will just try anyway. I have my license. I can go back to medical if anything. But I did it from scratch. I left medical and I started.
So you jumped full in.
Yes.
Full time.
I'm that kind of person.
You're laser focused. You lock in on real estate, and locking in on real estate, walk me through, so you show up. Are you at another brokerage, or is this the brokerage you've always been with? Take me through that story. I'm here now.
So what happened? This is what I did. I had a 1 week of vacation. And this is a funny story because nothing is easy. I had 1 week of vacation.
So after you end the job, 1 week of vacation.
No. Before I end the job.
I see. Okay.
I'm like, I have a week of vacation. I want to take it, but I don't want to go somewhere. I want to do something with it. So I found the school and they had availability that week.
Gotcha.
But it was only in Spanish. I study in English. So I'm like, okay, let me do it in Spanish. So what's the worst that's going to happen? So I took that week. I went to school. I finished the course for 1 week. And then I went to take the exam in Spanish and it didn't work for me. I failed. I'm like, oh my God, this is bad because the translation and I think they have been getting better. And even at the school now, they give tips of how to avoid the translation part because the system it was really bad by then. So I'm like, okay, I have to study in English. Let me buy the book in English. And I start studying English on myself at home.
Right.
and I studied the books, and then I took the test and I passed.
Awesome.
So after that, I'm like, well, it is what it is. I make this decision, something that I have is if I made a decision, I use go through it and I just make it. I just finish. I'm not like, so that's what happened. I'm like, okay, let me fire myself from medical.
I'm out.
I'm out completely, and I start real estate. I went to a 100% company first.
Okay.
I was there for almost 3 years.
I see.
That's the best that agent can do.
Really?
That's how I see it. The reason why is because you don't feel that you have pressure, that you have to split what you're making, that you have to. It's just a way to adapt of something new.
Okay.
That's the way I saw it. So I went to this 100% company. They give classes. Yes, you learn from the classes how to write the contract. So I was very grateful in that time because I used to go every single day to all the classes.
Because you're dedicated.
Yeah. No clients, no anything. I don't care. I just want to learn. Let me learn, and because that's the way that I'm going to go out there and be able to deliver to clients. So I start like that. I partner with a mortgage that I appreciate so much because he teach me a lot.
Good.
And one of the things that it helps me, it was to knowing the mortgage side too and learn the mortgage, how to work, what do we need, what type of loans, what documents people need. So that helps me a lot, and I think that's what got me, one step forward for the agents or new agents in that time. Because when a client used to come to me, I used to give them everything and talk to
more full service, right? So you were bringing enough. So if I can walk us back just a second to that loan officer, the loan officer took an interest in you. He taught you what his role was, right? And he shared with you, hey, this is what I need from as a new agent. And so I would imagine from your description, his mindset was, I got a great talented agent here who's new, and I'm going to educate her on how to be better and then support her.
Yeah.
Right. So to all your new loan officers out there, one thing you can do, right? A new agent, right? You instantly can gravitate to a new agent and just share, hey, this is what my side does. This is not necessarily programs, because it doesn't sound like he said or shared program, but it sounds like more like this is how I do my job.
Educationally, I have met agents that they don't know anything about mortgage.
Right.
And they ask me how you make clients. I'm like, this is how I make clients. Oh, but that's not my side. It doesn't matter. It's like when you run a business you own, this is your business. You have to know about everything.
Right.
No matter what. And you're going to learn that little by little. But if you focus on the first part, it's mortgage, because clients need approval to be able to buy a property for you to go out there and look for the property.
Right.
So for me, that was like, okay, this is it. Teach me. Give me, let's do seminars. Let me listen to you. Let me find what programs that works for each people.
Right.
Because everybody's different based on credit score. As soon as you ask a client, okay, so what's your credit score? Do you have an idea how many debts do you have? You already catch up part of what kind of program this client might fit in.
Ish.
Exactly.
What is a good fit?
Or say, no, I don't want to show my taxes, or I don't make enough, or this and that. I'm like, okay, so you can do an investment loan, for example, that you don't need taxes or DSCR. So that kind of knowledge, it give you that a step forward. Like, okay, at least I know my client. Sure. I'm getting to know my client, and this is where I can go. So that builds there a base between the agent and the client, where the client feels like, okay, my agent knows about everything. It's not just about showing the house and be like, take me places.
So to me, that sounds like value.
Exactly.
it's value creation, you know. So
Exactly.
you're creating value
Hmm.
by you're using your knowledge as currency to
Hmm.
establish value.
Hmm.
Okay, that's great. Now, with that loan officer, going back to that loan officer, did you sit on pre-approvals? Like, did you? Because you mentioned you listened in. Did you kind of go to the office with the with?
Yes, I used to be on everything.
Yeah. So
Like,
I figured as
yes,
much. You're a
yes,
sponge.
exactly.
There
I
you go.
was trying to grab everything that I could to know how the process worked, how people react to it, what's clients' fears, because you can see it on their face, how they feel,
Right.
what resound to them, what they really don't like about it,
Right.
if they say, I'm not sure. So you don't want to lose a client
Sure.
just because they're not sure of the next step. But if
Hmm.
you give them support, you give them enough education products, if you give them enough opening communication, and it just, they open themselves and they were more proactive.
Sure.
Okay, I can do this, I can do that. Maybe it will take a few months. It's okay.
Right.
A good client will come back to you
Right.
if they really want to do business with you. So I learned a lot from there, and that was like my to go. On my first 6 months, I joined that company like in July or August, something like that.
Hmm.
And then we closed the year in December, and then January. From those 6 months, I made over $1 million in sales.
Yeah. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I didn't even know
That's
until
such an
until I
anomaly.
went to the event and they just nominate me, and I'm like, "What's going on?
Yeah.
What does it even mean?"
It's an anomaly because
Yes.
most new agents, loan officers, if you didn't know, most new agents don't get productive until 24 months. So there's like a 2 year period that usually, if you look at the NAR data, that says that hey, they're it's tough because they're
Hmm.
building their business. They're not
Hmm.
really closing much. Then what happens is after the 2 year period, you'll see that agents start becoming familiar, build their base, and then they become profitable. So,
Hmm.
but that 2 year period
Yeah.
is that startup period for an agent is absolutely tough, and you crushed it.
Hmm.
You absolutely crushed it.
I did.
It sounds like you had, your education was part of crushing it for
Yeah.
all the agents watching on the podcast. So, and again, for the loan officer to support you and to help you get to there, presumably,
Hmm.
that's great. Now, you know, after that, so it sounds like your clients are, they trust you. They have a high level of trust. You do your $1 million, you do your closing. You're a top producer in a short amount of time. Now, did you change loan officers? Did it grow? Walk me through that.
Hmm.
Or was it working with a lot of people? Was it working with one while you're in that?
Hmm.
How did that kind of work out for you?
Okay, so I always been pretty open, and I love to learn. So what I found after a while is that you have to grow with the people as well. So when you get yourself stuck, for example, on a mindset or in a way of work
Hmm.
that is not going with the new traffic
Sure.
or the new type of clients or the new technology, or you just left behind a little bit. I always been pretty open in my business, and every single person that knows me and works with me, they know I do business with people that I feel that I want to do business with. So it's not only one mortgage broker.
Hmm.
I think every single client is different. Every
Hmm.
single client will need. I even had clients that say, I don't want to work with a man. I want to work with a lady.
Wow.
So I'm not gonna lose a client just because they don't want to work with a man,
Sure. No.
you
Right.
know.
Understandable.
So let me find you the best out there,
Right.
So those little dots that you have to connect when you're on the business, that creating more than one relationship will help you. Of course, you're always going to have one mortgage that you most of your clients go to
Fair.
because you have an amazing relationship with, but at the same time you're open to work with other people. Some mortgage brokers, they don't do seminars, some others do. So if you feel like you want to do seminars, you don't have to stop giving business to that mortgage broker, but you do business with the other one that likes to do seminars, and you go and do seminars with them.
Very
And
good.
whoever's clients come from there, perfect. You share it with that person. You know what I mean?
That's excellent.
So it's just building different paths, different ways of work. Not everybody works the same. So I start opening myself to other options up there,
Right.
and I start fitting more with other people. So that's what happened. I still communicate with him. We still have previous clients together, but it's not like I do business with him often like I used to do.
Sure.
But yeah, it's like a movement where
Well,
you
you're
just find yourself too, how as a professional, what exactly you want to do for your business
hmm
and how you wanted to build your business.
Yeah.
So you start finding yourself and developing and changing at the same time. So whoever is with you, they have to adapt or they have to stay and just go with new agents. Like today's day, that's what he does. He just grabs new agents. That's how it works for him. But I'm
that's
not a
his
new agent anymore.
right. I
You know.
understand that. I understand.
So you get to the point that you just opening you doors to others options.
You as the CEO of your business, this loan officer, great guy, excellent work, got me there. But now, is there something that I can do to expand my business and still use this as a resource by creating relation? We're a relationship driven business, loan officers and realtors. So sometimes as loan officers, we feel like, um, or maybe I'm guilty of it. Are they cheating on me? You know what I mean? So all you guys don't take it personal.
Yes.
As a top producing agent, it's like, and guys and gals, don't take it personal. It's just that they're expanding out their business and building relationships. The foot is on. We too should be
Yeah,
expanding out.
exactly. You guys were more than one agent at the same time.
Of course.
So that's how I saw it in that time. Like, okay, so you has a mortgage, officer. You work with more agents,
Yes.
and that's fine. You have to have your sources all over. Yes, I'm committed to you to bring business, but at the same time, I want to open my doors to other businesses because I even have, for example, ladies that work on the mortgage side, and I have business with them. But it's because we share the same mentality at the same time. We do things together that I would not do with guys. You know what I
Sure.
mean? With a man. So it's different. So you have to find people that brings you what fits you good. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it can be from a man, it can be from a woman. And I even have someone that told me that's really respectful that you're able to do that.
Sure.
Because you even read the client and you send it to the person that you know that's going to
You're
take care.
matchmaking.
Exactly.
You're a matchmaker.
Exactly. So sometimes I feel like, you know, it's my job too to respect my client
Absolutely.
and to make them feel happy and finish their transaction in a good standing because I only work referrals. My client is very important to me. It's not just my job. I'm relying on your job as a mortgage broker title. So I'm very picky who I choose to work with. Even title, I had someone really special that I talked to the other day, and that person told me I should go and get more business from top agents only, like go to the people that are making millions or luxury.
Right.
And I told him, listen to me, you can do that. That person will give you business once in a while when they have it.
Right.
But what about if you grab a new agent and you just build it the way that you think that that he will build his business and he will bring you business.
So
Exactly.
that is absolutely a brilliant. That's a mindset switch, but certainly there's a mindset of take, not give.
Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
So building the business, help them build their business so that they can. So then there's reciprocity. Hey, we're working together to build something
Exactly.
special to be great.
Mhm.
Like I talk about going good to great. There's a great book out there, and I forget the author right now. But building organizations good to great. That's absolutely what I envision myself when I wake up in the morning. I want to go good to great, and so it sounds like you share a lot of that same inner drive to I want to build my business. I need to, you're saying, hey, build this business, Mr. Title Guy. So that way these new agents can help now build your business,
Exactly.
build a relationship. Because I agree with you. It's easy. It's easier for loan officers. If you're going to chase big fish, they're going to have, big loans, et cetera, but realistically speaking, if I use, my son's in baseball right now, it's the difference between hitting grand slams or like getting on base and hitting home runs and just kind of making runs, right? You got to do that. So,
Exactly.
It's a philosophy at that point.
So he was like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. And I'm like, you should, because if you bring value to an agent, no matter what, we bring the business.
Right.
Most of the time.
Right, you're the drivers.
Yeah.
Well, hey, NAR says, I think 80% of home buyers start with perhaps an online search and looking for an agent. You are the driver. You're the quarterback. No question about it. And so being the quarterback, you have to know how to run the play. Sports analogy.
So I told them, invest on agents, invest on their business, see them, look at them as business and invest on them, help them on doing mail out, investing on their business card when they start. I mean, just give them something that they feel grateful for. At the same time that when they have a client, you're the first person, this person has been helping me to build my business, so my business goes to them.
Now, I've heard from other loan officers that, some of these folks will say, okay, I think they're like, oh, this person's giving me this. Then they start shopping for, this person's giving me this person's giving me that, and then let me upgrade based. And so they start trading on, oh, Susie Q's is doing my business card. This one's doing that. This one's doing that. So how do you fight? I mean, dare I say this? How do you fight someone who's posing trust, but they're really using them? How would someone, in your opinion, and this is, it just came to my mind. I'm not going to answer the question. I think I know it, but what are the red flags is what I'm trying to say, where someone's, trusting versus using, and where's that balance in your mind's eye?
Between mortgage and agents?
Yeah. Where you were saying, hey, we're investing, because like mortgage loan officers like to co-brand with agents. Is this agent really just using me, or is it for the co-brand, or are we really building a business? Is there any, how would you view that? How do you view that?
Communication. Like, be open and communicate. If I'm investing in your business and I'm helping you to grow, let's put a time frame. How many deals will you give me in 6 months?
Let's work together.
Exactly. Creating, it's business at the end of the day. It's business. Like, if you give me, I give, so at the end of the day, it's like, okay, are you available when I need you to do an open house, for example?
Sure.
Or you always have excuse that you cannot. They don't like to do open houses. But that's an example. But other broker mortgage, they always available to go and do open houses with you. So you have to know to the agent that you're working with. What did they like? What did they do the most? If they like to go to networking, you can take a day a week and just go networking with your agent.
Sure.
Meet other agents at the same time. But it's not just collaborating like monetary, like advertising or marketing. It's more about being present with your agent too. Like seminars or clients appreciation, like anything that it will bring you close to the agent to really see if he's using you or he really want to work with you.
Fair. But it sounds like good fit. You're looking for fit, how, and I think that's I think you answered the question expertly, in terms of like fit. Who's a good fit for me? Who's a good fit for you? And what can be done. And so now let me ask you a question about fit. And since some of our audience are newer loan officers, if they're scared, what if they're just literally afraid to pick up the phone, the contact, or how do you view a loan officer calling you for business? Is it a red flag? Is it like, oh my God, another sales call? Is it, how would, because some of our audience may say, I'd love to work with someone like her. I think she's a great fit for me. But how do I approach this without being super salesy? Because, in our mind's eye, we may be saying, okay, I'm sure she's approached by 10,000, loan officers. What makes me special? Question mark. How is it? So what's the best way? Would it be email, text, call, coffee? What do you find that, if you're going to look at a new relationship, what would be a best way to reach out to you?
In my case, I'm a one-on-one person.
I see.
You know, I like to feel people. I like to read people. So I'm a one-on-one person. I'm super open and natural. So it's not like I will force to do business with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I even been on meetings with other mortgage brokers that I have met before. And even, for example, I'm going to give you an example. Last month, I went to UWM training for agents. And next to me on the bus, going back to the hotel, this mortgage officer stayed next to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me, "Oh, you're an agent or mortgage broker?" I'm like, "No, I'm an agent. And I go every year. I love it."
Oh, do you?
I do. So he told me, "Oh, that's impressive that an agent comes every year." And I told him, "Yeah, for me, it's an investment on me, on my business. That's the way I see it. Stay 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is, to learn what's going on new on the market. And at the same time, you learn from mortgage brokers because it's a mortgage company.
Right.
It's other things. I even tell my mortgage broker sometimes, if it's any of the mortgage educational that you can fit me in, I go with you guys.
Love it.
Just to know what's going on, just to know what's new, just to know. I even found out on the training that we even have waivers now through WM for appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that existed. And I just got a client that we just had an appraisal waiver and I couldn't believe it. And I even asked the client, I did the number, and I presented to the client. And she told, I asked her, "Do you want to still do an appraisal? Because you have the right to know.
Sure.
You can do it. It will not be required for you to get the notice." It's like, "No, I trust you. You show up, me the numbers, and I know I'm buying the property in a good price. So I'm not gonna even waste my money." But you even have to still offer to the clients to, for them to decide if they want to do it or not. They maybe want to know how much, equity they have or something. So, short story, he was like, "Oh my God, it's so impressive that you come every year. I wish more agents think that way." They just give you like a budget that you can bring your agents, the one that you do business with. And the guy behind us, he was like, "Oh my God, that's like," so they asked me, "What will you share with agents for them to realize that this is an opportunity?" And I'm like, they have to see it as an investment.
Investment in their business.
Investing in their business. And at the same time, creating connection. Every year that I go, last year I meet 2 agents, one from Las Vegas and the other one from Texas.
Nice.
I send them business.
Did you really?
Yeah, I have clients that like, "I want to move to Vegas." And I'm like, "Okay, I got you the guy."
Right.
And when you create a relationship with your clients, the first person that they're going to call is you.
Of course.
Before shopping around. This mortgage broker, we talk for the whole time. He even gave me a book.
Really?
He has me in Facebook, so he maybe will see this video.
Subscribe to the MLO Podcast, and she's giving you a mad promo.
Yes, he gave me a book
that he wrote.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's about mortgage, but on a way that you see mortgage. How can I explain that? The book is more how mortgage or that specific person that's gonna work with you. So he on the book he talks about that
Beautiful.
relationship building, trust, having a mindset with your mortgage broker at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a really good book. I love it. He gifted it to me, and I was so appreciated that he even told me next time he's in Chicago, we talk. A really nice guy.
I can't wait. I want to invite this guy on the podcast. Remind me be promoting a book here shortly.
Yeah, so lovely. And I even told him, if you ever have anyone that needs business on that way, I will send it to you.
But you see how people are talented?
Exactly.
They're just so talented. A loan officer has written a book. Like
Mm-hmm.
some MLO on this podcast, like it may never have dawned to an MLO to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an experienced MLO. I want to write about a book about the stories or what have you. And I'd love to,
Mm-hmm.
before we share it, we'll talk to him as well. But that's a brilliant idea, perhaps writing a book. And it seems like you really enjoyed it.
I did, because it's more about finding the why. Why you're doing this, why you wanted to buy a house, why you want to work with this specific person. So you create connection with other peoples that you don't know when you're gonna need them or when they're going to need you.
So what I've gathered from you is that you've never stopped networking. You've never stopped putting yourself out there to
Mm-hmm.
grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Sometimes when you reach a certain number, you kind of like plateau.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I made it great. Sounds like to me that you hit the numbers like, okay, I'm here. Now how can I go higher? That just comes from within, and good on you. That's probably the drive from all the way from your upbringing, and being on your own, being independent, and then now to being a real estate, an amazing rock star realtor, right? So now on your why, I got to ask you. You talked about his why. Let's talk about your why. Why do you love what you do? Why do you do what you do? And it's going to be a two-part question. So I want to say why you,
Mm-hmm.
and why should loan officers not be afraid to reach out to an agent like you?
Okay,
Why?
so my why. First of all, I think my why, it comes from me, myself. It comes more from my why is me.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to build something that brings people together. So besides my family, my child, my husband, they're like my drive every day. But
Sure.
my main why is as a woman. I come from a woman's culture.
So a strong woman foundation.
Exactly. And I think my why, it comes from there. To build something that I'm proud of on the future, that my daughter will continue, like a legacy. So my why comes from more from as a woman, what can I bring? What can I do? So why I do it, I have a passion for it, and I think it's more about people, connecting with people, having relationship with people, not use about money, not use the result that you're gonna have. It's building an empire little by little.
Yeah.
Relationship with clients. So that's my why, and I always have that representation in my head. Like my why, it just take me to me as
Sure.
as a woman, as a person. I always wanted to grow and see the world differently. So I always work on myself on a personal base, used to have a different mindset, to adapt to new challenges, to adapt to what's coming. I mean, nothing is like when I was 14, 15,
Sure.
when I was 12.
Right.
So I think we have to keep going and adapting to the new. And that's where mortgage broker also, I think they stop fitting with certain agents, because they just get stuck on the way they used to do business.
This is the way.
Exactly. And they don't open themselves to change or growth with the process, because
Well, the client's adapting. Digitization, the client's adapting.
Mhm.
Your needs are adapting as an agent because you're in a hyper competitive market. You're competing with institutional buyers that are buying properties. So you need to have an MLO or a resource or someone that can be there, for you. You and I could talk for hours. There's more to your story as we peel back the onion, just like halfway. I think there's more to your story, but I really appreciated our time together here today.
Thank you for having me.
What I loved about your story is, the mindset, the drive, the fact that, from an MLO's perspective, you work with many MLOs. And, I know I was going to tease this out of you, so I can't close without asking you. So are there any tips for MLOs that you would give before we close, to take courage or to work with a top producer? Do not be afraid. What would be the one nugget you would want to give an MLO? Let's hear the tip.
So my tip would be, expose yourself more. Go out there and find people that want to work with you, and You work with people that want to work with you. That's how I see it. You know, even though if you go to an agent or you're trying to get business from agent and it's not working, that's fine. You have plenty of agents out there looking to fit in with a mortgage broker.
Work with people that want to work with you. So what I'm hearing from you is loan officer, get out from behind the desk.
Yeah.
And go out there,
go to networking.
Yeah, network.
It's plenty of them all the time here in Miami, more than.
So perhaps pick up the phone call. Would you think?
Exactly.
Call the agent. Coffee. They're loving it.
It's just about who are you and what are you good at. Some people are good at the phone.
Right.
Some people are good on emails. I even had MLOs that they have sent me a video. They record themselves and be like introducing themselves. I mean, some people like that. Some people don't.
That's a nugget. Look at it. You dropping massive tips. Some love it. Email, video. What else? There's anything else that you?
No, just going out there. Like they're working face to face, meeting agents. Go to places where you have events when you're gonna meet agents and you can talk to them face to face.
Love it.
And you will be surprised. Many people are new agents, but many other they're not even in the industry and they want to come on board, and you can help them or guide them and create a relationship with them. And there you go, you have business there on the long way. So
what brings to mind is the image of just get out there and meet people. Right? And so we as loan officers sometimes are stuck behind the desk and we forget that, this is a relationship business.
Exactly.
We forget that it's beyond the paper.
It is.
It's all about building.
And even me when I go to the networkings, I see a lot of title company. I see inspectors. And I don't see many MLOs, and they always behind the desk. I mean, being in a closing, I have not have that in a while.
Or when MLO shows up?
Yeah. And I love it, because I go to every single closing. Okay. And I love my picture with my clients. That will not pass no matter what. I will take my picture with my client. That's for me to remember and to have it always. And I even sometimes I made the photo and I just send them to them and as a gift later on. So having an MLO there with you at closing, that will make a difference, because some people like to like me. For me, it's a moment where client, agent, and MLO get together. Most of the clients, they don't meet the MLO.
No. Right. Most of the clients. It's a voice.
Exactly.
It's a voice, yeah.
So it's exciting to have everybody in one place, at least at the closing time.
Sure.
Go to lunch with a client or have dinner, everybody together. More like a relationship, like a family relationship where those clients will remember you. And every time that they need something or someone needs something, the first person that they're going to call you.
You have a process for dealing with your referral base and your past clients that continues to feed you here today. When on our next episode, when we get back together, because I think that's where MLOs could add massive value. Plugging in, perhaps, on a post-closing process with a top-tier agent, maybe a gap or an opportunity that you could fill. Yarenis, it was a pleasure. Thank you for everything. God bless you. I'm so glad you got to meet Yarenis Perez here on the MLO Podcast. Go out there, build your business, build your brand. That's from her mouth, not mine. Take care. Bye-bye.